Very good. Oh. Very nice, Dave. Wave to the public. They're not here yet, but I'm sure they'll watch us later. Oh, and this is fruit juice.
Yeah, whatever. So's mine.
Mmm.
Evaporating quickly.
Mmm. And Dave's actually looks like fruit juice. I mean, not Dave's, Dan's. It looks like fruit juice. Right, so last time we met was run through the asteroid, basically. You arrived at an asteroid, you snuck on board really, really well. Your computer expert, who was Dan, I think. Were you the computer expert this time? Yep.
Communications, yeah.
Managed to convince, managed to convince the AI that you were robots on maintenance journey, which was reasonably impressive. Because there were only 2 living things on this rock until you lot arrived. By doing that, there's Tom again. Hello, Tom.
That is the most I've ever seen you, Tom. Just in that split second there. I've been gaming with you for 2 years.
I think we're upside down. Oh, what's that? Hello, Mum.
Tom.
Very nice.
Mum.
Oh, Tom. Okay.
Yeah. Something different.
So yes, until you lot got on board, you were the only people on. There were only 2 beings alive on this rock, and you've just encountered them. They are the reasonably large and unusual beings. The one that you spent the most time talking to was, where are we? Kataran. And I'm looking at completely the wrong thing to be showing you them. So there we go. That's what we're after. So we have Kataran, who was the most talkative of the 2, and Duranel, who kind of didn't like the looks of you and sort of pretty much was the Zap of the party. He wanted to hurt you reasonably badly, whilst the Zap was very nervous about these creatures. Upon finding them, you found that they were more than likely prisoners in this particular point, and agreed to set them free, which is where we left it. Now, there was a bit of discussion and there was some talk, and Scott was quite keen to ask a lot of questions. However, they sort of pointed out that they really needed to get off the ship before they realised that you were on board, or off the android anyway. Off the asteroid, not the android. So, that's where we basically left it. Are you intending on escaping through the route that you came here through?
I don't think we can, because there's something about the channel down which we came from the surface that you indicated that we couldn't go back there or something.
Did I?
Yeah, something about radiation or something.
Oh,
Or heat.
wow.
Might have been heat.
There you go.
Heat is a form of radiation.
Well, yes, there is that.
Well, let's say our sensors guy could take a reading and see if it's all safe to go back that way now.
Oh, sure he could do that.
Cool. And I'll just talk to Darren very quietly about how we might be able to get some TDX into some of their food.
That's
Well,
not
jump in the local census panel, Mark.
Okay,
And,
no worries.
See what that environment is like.
Okay, you have a good look at the sensor panel, but being that it's made for some kind of giant dinosaur's hands, you can't seem to work out how to use it properly. And they look over it, and he sort of, and Katharan sort of shakes his head a bit, and he says, no, not that, no, just let me do it. And he sort of carefully moves you to the side. He places his hand on your shoulder and moves you gently for a creature that's so large. You can feel the strength in his arms, though. He is a big boy. Where are we? 2d6 plus. Okay. His hands dexterously move across the control panel, the sensor panel, and flicks through quite a few bits of detailed data. And he says that apparently about, minutes ago the radiation would have been way too bad, but there must have been a really bad malfunction with the GM, because that would be just a prick move, not allowing you to move back down through the area that you came from. He must have wanted you all to die a horrible death or something like that. But luckily a kinder, happier GM has been put in his place, and things look okay for moving back through the area you came from. However, he also tells you that the sensors are telling him that they have been alerted to the fact that there are intruders on board the ship, on board the asteroid.
Let's call it the asteroid called Android.
Yes, it's the android asteroid because there's too many androids around it. That's right.
Are these intruders perhaps small dogs?
All large, hairy Irish houndy things.
They're all pretty much naked apes, apart from one pussy cat who appears to have taken some catnip for the time being.
Could have sworn I heard small dogs.
Yeah. No, I think that was just Zach trying to see if he could confuse the dinosaurs. Well, shall we hustle our way back out through the exit with the dinosaurs sort of near the front?
Good plan.
With perhaps our Aslani comrade leading the battle, so to speak.
Oh. Okay.
At his rightful place in any formation.
You're talking about putting some living meat shield in front of us?
No, I'm talking about putting the biggest biological weapon we have right in front of these things, while we back it up with anything we can scrounge off the bloody robots and try to get TDX on them if they decide to turn on us. We have an android over there with no head. If we can scrounge weapons off it before we leave, that'd be great.
The weapon systems that are built into these things are pretty well wired in sort of things. They're not stuff that you're easily going to be able to take off and wire up your jury rig in any quick way, shape or form. I just had a message from Dave Morris too, by the way, so there will be no calls of, yeah, but I've got Jack of all trades tonight.
Damn. Okay.
He's at a memorial for a friend that passed away a year ago, so he won't be showing. Okay.
Well, I'll give Darian and Anton one of my TDX charges, tell them briefly how it's used, and just say, if you need to, slam it on the side of the creature, or if you can, even better, on its head.
All right.
And then stand, like touch paper, stand back around about 10 feet and push the bloody button and watch the show.
Yes. Fall to a ball and hope that the orientation isn't your way when it goes off.
Yeah, what you gonna do?
That sounds like a plan.
Okay, I think actually what I talked about at the end of last game was the fact that these dinosaur-like creatures, these aliens that you picked up, Duranel and Catharan, have no suits, but they can withstand the radiation as they shoot out across space and stuff like that for a certain amount of time. I think that's what I was talking about.
Okay.
I didn't mean to put you off going back the way you came.
Cool.
And in fact, as you sort of start moving that way, Seeker leading the way, I always thought that these things were agile, but I did a fair bit of research on them for this particular event and found that they lose dex. So there you go. They're not as graceful as cats. In fact, they're quite clumsy but strong and can run across a desert reasonably well.
Okay.
But Seeker takes to the lead and he starts jumping along, and you all get into the into the airlock. The airlock is actually sized for humanoids of your size, and you can see that Duranel and Catharan are actually quite uncomfortable in these locations. They have to crouch right down.
Well, then I suggest we cycle with our Aslan friend going through first, and then them going through, then the three of us humans going through last.
Yeah, Seeker's all happy with that plan. Duranel and Catharan said if that's the tactical way you think you can handle it, that's fine. Remember, we have no weapons.
And Zap thinks you are a bloody weapon. But anyway, you could stand one of us and make us ooze real quick.
Well, there is that. You definitely realise that these guys are big and strong physically. However, one misplaced sort of shot would probably go straight through them, especially seeing those robots are pretty much dealing with drilling lasers and the like when they attack.
Drilling lasers, my favourite weapon. Okay.
Some of them have. Some of them have actual what are they called? Gauss rifles built into them, but most of them have drilling lasers.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Let's Seeker go ahead with them, and we'll follow up behind, I guess, if the guys are okay with that.
Seeker does go ahead. It's a zero-G environment now. Any sort of idea of there being a gravitational pull has long since gone. They've pretty much shut down any of the environmental protocols in any of the exit-like passageways, so you're moving through zero-G environment. Is there anybody that's particularly uncomfortable with moving through zero-G environment?
Hell no. I was born in zero-G.
I got one.
Okay. Okay, in that case, then you all move reasonably fluently. You find that Duranel and Catharan struggle a bit, bouncing off walls and stuff like that, but they quickly get the hang of it reasonably and sort of start moving. But it still is a very tight corridor for them to make their way down.
Okay, I'll just mention to Darian, see how quickly they adapt.
Chill out, man.
You've got two things the size of small elephants, which probably could whip around and take your head off before you could get your nose.
You are so paranoid.
We don't know these things from a bar of soap yet. They've just given us a story.
You are literally xenophobic.
No, actually Zap is not. He gets on better with aliens than with humans, but
not these guys.
they're not aliens, these are animals. And they're animals that look like aliens, and I saw that in the movie, and I know what happened to everyone who's in that movie.
That scares me.
Xenophobia.
Yeah. They look like baby aliens.
Scared shitless. They're going to drop down and lay an egg in his throat.
They're like aliens that were born from Triceratops.
Mm-hmm.
I see where you're coming from.
Genuine xenophobia.
I love Seeker. He's cool.
They're huge.
He's an alien.
2.5 meters tall. These things are massive.
They are
They are massive.
Jesus. Even
One
though
whack
we're
that tail
aliens like
your leg.
yeah, they can just step on you.
Yeah.
They weigh nearly half a ton.
Half a ton. Yeah.
No, one little stamp and your tomato paste on the ground.
Oh dear.
Yep, that's all good. I'm having a respect distance at the back.
So far, they've given no indication that they're anything but cooperative.
Yes, and an atomic bomb sitting there, really nice and peaceful, looks beautiful too. Until someone goes, boom.
Um.
I'm stepping away from Zap.
All good.
Okay, just got a message
Small kill
from
zone room now.
just got a message from Scott. Sorry, internet has failed on my end. Message from phone. Damn this crappy ADSL. So sorry, Mark. If call center fixes soon, we'll sign on. If not, we'll catch up later. Expletive.
Oh, expletive. Well, that's just, bloody hell.
I'll say. Yeah, okay. I don't know how to comment on that, so that's okay. Right.
Offended by that language.
Okay. So, yeah, you make your way down the. I think it was quite a distance, wasn't it, to the bottom? Some kilometres.
Yep.
You make it all the way down the tunnel. You can see that the venting chamber is actually almost at full roar, and it's only the sort of force fields that's running through the vent channels that is keeping everything nice and protected on this side. That's obviously done to keep people out of the vent channel in a security system or a security situation. But you do travel down reasonably quickly, managing to get yourself to move. You do see that, and Zap's absolutely right, you do see that these creatures have totally adapted, and they're actually moving quite nimbly and almost, very gracefully through zero-G before they reach the end of the tunnel. It's a very cramped sort of space, and they seem to be able to manoeuvre themselves perfectly to actually fit through any spaces that they come across to a perfect point.
I double my respectful distance.
At this point, at this state, this rate of respectful distance, you're going to end up getting left behind.
Yeah.
No.
He's
You
doubling
guys don't know how
Long range respect.
you guys just don't know how to operate in zero-G properly anyway, so I'm fine. I'll be picking you guys up as we go up there to the ship.
He's doubling his rate of respectful distance. In other words, he turned around and went back to the airlock.
Not quite. That would be tripling, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't
No, I guess I'm about 15 metres away from them.
Not a problem
With the
at all.
other two, with Darian and Anton, if they want to be in front of me, that's all sweet.
Okay,
Well, I'm
that's
wondering
it.
what the possibilities of combining zero-G movement and my revolver skill together are like.
Your what skill?
Combining zero-G movement and my revolver skill together just to get a little bit of extra speed.
Yeah,
Is that a bad idea? I don't know.
Oh, well, who knows? You could always give it a go. You see that also at times, Zap, that because Catharin's the one in front, he's the one following closest behind Seeker. Duranel's following behind, and you see Duranel actually adapted a lot quicker than Catharin did for some reason. And at times you see him actually roll over onto his back while he's sailing along. When he gets comfortable that he's heading in the right direction, and he looks back at you in particular, sort of just making sure where you are and sort of stuff.
Yeah, I know this game.
Yes, it's called the GM feeding your paranoia.
That's all right. It's all good.
When you eventually drop yourself back to almost double distance, he doesn't turn anymore. He continues. Seeker reaches the bunker that you initially entered into, and you see Seeker sort of what's it called? Braces himself against the far wall as he comes to a halt, and he looks out over the vista and then sort of stares back at you as you're floating towards him, and you see him make the symbol out the window, and you see him raise his weapon, which is probably not the best idea because that's a slug thrower.
I've got a snub pistol, a zero-G weapon.
Okay. You see,
It does have high energy something rounds. I can't remember. It's the one with the biggest explosive.
Okay. Seeker stands basically on. Okay, hang on. Tom wants me to give him the Roll20 link. Oh, that would be that one there, I suppose. Copy link. Now, how do I get to that? Okay. Just bear with me for a second. Technology defeats me now that I have to move back to my Mac.
share your pain.
It's not pain at all. I actually love my Mac. I will probably move back to Macs, but it's just I'm not 100%. Oop, there we go. Now I know where to go.
Open up the video.
No, that's all right. I just stuck it in that chat, Tom, so you should have it now. All right. Okay. Back to it. Right, you can see that Seeker's basically standing on the side of the wall of this bunker, so obviously the habitation sensors and controls are still out here. Catharan moves in, and you see him glance over to the side, and then he sort of, you see him actually flick out his tail, which is the first time that you've seen him use it to any large degree, and he pushes off the wall, precisely giving him the move that he needs to slot himself into the corner furthest from the window. And he actually lands as if he's standing the right way up. And somebody's rolling 1d47. Cthulhu has arrived. Damn you, Cthulhu, you can't use non-Euclidean dice. As he does that, you can see Durenal sort of does a flip in midair and uses his tail to push himself off the ceiling, and by that stage he plants both feet firmly on the bottom of the bunker, and he raises his head just a little bit above the visor. Then you come through. Who's coming through first? Is it I've got to remember all your names now. Is it Anton or is it Darian?
Yeah, I'll go.
Okay. Darian, you come in. Do you have vac suit or zero-G combat? One of the two.
I have vac suit.
All right. Give me a vac suit check as you fly in, and tell me where you're looking when you come in.
Sure. Vac suit 1.
And Vexit's a +4 per level.
It's +4 per level. I was about to say that. So you get 2d6 plus 4.
Right.
Wow.
We're looking for an 8+.
Yep. Just trying to get things to behave for me.
Behave? Oh, God, you'll never do that. We'll be here forever. Oh, behave.
2d6 plus 4.
No,
Very well.
2d6 plus 4.
That's what I said.
Well, it doesn't seem to believe you.
Well, that's what I rolled.
There we go. Oh, look at that.
13.
That's me.
Oh,
And, now, hang on, let me get this straight in my head. So, our Aslan friend got to the crater that we came out of.
Okay, let me draw you a picture.
That'd be awesome.
Okay,
Because then I can tell you which way I would intend to point.
This is the bunker.
The bunker, wasn't it?
Yeah. I'll drag you over to the picture in a moment. There is a viewing strip along the wall that's got double lines. So, oh, hang on. So if I drag you over here, if you're not there already.
Yep.
Okay, so you are currently coming in this direction.
Yep.
The main dude, Catharan, or whatever his name was, has moved to this point here. Seeker's basically standing off this wall, looking out this way. Oh, I keep doing silly things. And the other big dinosaur type duty fella is there. Sorry, I don't have a mouse tonight. I foolishly left it at work.
Ridiculous. Okay. Then where's my character? Can't see me.
You can't see me.
I genuinely cannot see my figure on this.
No, there should be no token or anything. Just draw yourself in.
Yep. I should go about there.
Okay, so you stand behind the large warrior-type dude with the shield.
Meat shield.
Well, we're coming in from this way, from in here.
But who's
Yep.
the meat shield?
That's where you're coming in from. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I'll have my SMG at the ready.
0G, that's going to be funny.
Yeah, won't it be interesting?
Anton, you took my spot, but okay.
Oh, nice one, Anta. Well, that's what you get for keeping a respectful distance.
But that's okay, because I'm going to go on the ceiling.
On the ceiling?
Just above him. 0G. And I'm quite used to it upside down.
You're fairly certain you hear a faint Lionel Richie playing in the background as he begins to dance on the ceiling.
Yes, I do a tiny little jig all of 2 seconds and then I stop.
Oh, what a
Okay.
feeling.
Dancing on the ceiling. Alright, so you, or those people that can see, everybody can see
A thing. A blue thing.
Yeah.
2 blue things.
Yeah.
However,
right on the edge of the door so I can see through most of the view screen.
yeah,
I've
but
got both dinosaurs in view.
you can't see the third one. Only Seeker, Catharan, Daniel, and Darian can see the third one. Each of those 3 crosses represents one of those war robots.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that.
It's okay, you got TDX. How about
The circled 2 have Gauss rifles.
Oh, shit.
And the third one has a drilling laser.
Okay.
Where are they located, Mark? They seem to be out of the space you've drawn there. We're in 0G, aren't we?
They are in 0G. They look like they're heading for the roof.
Okay.
Which, if you remember, was you may not have been. Yeah, I think you were. Was where you came into this bunker.
Okay. Yeah.
In fact, the roof hatch is a roundabout. And let me draw a roof hatch in. A roundabout there.
Right.
Okay, I did actually want to highlight that a bit.
So even though I need to know, well, no, I don't. Because TDX will find its perpendicularity to the gravity arrow smooth. Okay. So.
Essentially, you have 2 options if you're going to use your TDX, and that won't hurt anyone. Well, in fact, you've probably only got 1 option, which is sort of like from there.
Yeah.
If you want to get them coming in.
Yeah, my suggestion would be, well, depends if they come in head first or bloody feet first.
You can actually see, those of you that are out there, that this central one is actually has thrusters moving against, so he's actually slowing down to almost a stop. The other 2 are moving at full speed towards the roof. Okay. This guy's raising his Gauss rifle, seemingly to cover the bunker itself. Although you're 99% certain that if he's got only regular visual aids, he won't be able to see him. But that's dependent on what you know about the robots.
Yeah. Well, my suggestion would be do the unthinkable. Pop the observation once the other 2 have got to the roof. Pop the observation window so it all goes heads out towards them, because we've still got an atmosphere in here. It'll all head out towards him. That should create enough of a cloud, so to speak, to block his visuals while we try to make escape. Because you don't want to hold your vac suits, gentlemen.
Oh, really?
How far have we
Yeah.
got to escape?
Kind of uncomfortable.
How far away is
And
our
look,
vessel, Steve?
the glass decompressing, if we can smash the observation port, would be pretty thick. So it would be pretty good projectile weapon. That mass, if it's that entire wall.
What were you after, Dan? What did you want to know?
Just wondering how far away our vessel is. You know, what is escape distance for us?
Couple of kilometers above us somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, so we're going to go through these guys.
We've got to go through as few of them as possible, yeah.
Is there any other retreats from here? Like, would we be able to blow things from around here or something and back out of the situation? I can't see us getting through a firefight.
It's not going to be
unless
good.
we can.
You see Catharan look across at you, and he sort of, his eyes drift to Seeker, and he says, "Oh, you can't really hear him." He motions towards him and points at the three, and he points at his eyes, and then he points at Seeker. Make it that as you want. He just looks at you guys. He points out the window. He goes, 3 eyes on Seeker.
Well, Darian, you got any ideas?
We're in deep doo-doo.
Yep. Either we can try to take some out as they come down the hatch.
I can't understand that
there's
technically.
one of us standing directly underneath it, which would be great for a person with a submachine gun, because all they would do is go down to the ground.
So I'm trying to understand what the square thing is. That's the ceiling hatch?
Yep. So
Right.
you'd be safe there, firing your weapon up towards, but I don't think, given what we know about these robots, as an SMG is going to do a shitload.
Going to do a dang thing.
Yep. And I think if we attach ourselves somewhere, blow the observation once the other two have gone up and we can hear them start trying to gain access, so there's only one in front of us, blow that observation window, send it out towards it, hopefully that'll cut it up to bits a little bit, at least create a cloud of obscuration, and we hightail as much as we can.
I think that's an excellent plan.
And what else is in this room? Anything that we can use?
There is the only other thing that's in this room is actually a large bank of sensors, which are arrayed along the front near the viewing platform as well.
What was that? A large bank of
sensors?
Sensors. Oh,
yep.
I thought you said gas. I don't know. My mind said gas bottles. Oh, damn. Okay. I
think you were overlaying what you wanted to hear.
Yeah. Can I see what I want to see?
No, that's right. There's the remote control to turn the androids off. Right there.
Beautiful. Perfect. Okay. Rightio. Sensor guy. Can you reroute this to electrify the surface so that should any of these robots hold on to it and they get in the room, as long as we don't, they actually fry their circuits or try to overcome their shielding? Can you do anything like that?
Power panel nearby, might be able to.
If we can find something to tie ourselves onto, for when we blow, or if we decide to blow the observation window, wire the room up so it's a bit of an electric trap for them. Can't think of anything else, guys, can you?
Okay, do you have a...
Hang on, the hatch. The hatch, does it have a metal rim?
The hatch is all metal.
Awesome, wire that up.
And hook up some... There's 2 guys in the room with us here, Mark. Are they hostile?
The 2 guys in the room with you are the dinosaurs.
Yeah, so they're cool, yeah. Right. Okay. Is there any paneling here I can rip apart, that we can rig up to the top of the roof or the doorway coming in through the roof?
There's a massive sensor array. It has huge power cables going to it. This is actually pretty much the conjunction of quite a few of the outer sensors for this particular area.
So my sensor skill might
I've got
give me the
a
knowledge
one. if you need it to help.
Yeah,
The electronic one. Okay.
More of an electronics thing.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Groovy.
I can point to where the power cables are, Steve, if you want to rip them out and rig them up.
I've got a
Okay, rightio. Well, I'll ask Seeker, with his massive strength, to once you identified it, to rip out the cables as much as possible, so I can. God, do I have? I don't have a little portable welder on me. Crap. Okay. I'll just use my electronics and mechanics or something just to try to temporarily have the power going through that.
Just
Basically,
wondering, do you have Jack of all trades?
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I'm bereft of Jack of all trades.
So, Dave Morris, when you watch this later on, realise you were missed. This was the time when you were meant to call out, "I've got Jack of all trades."
We'll just have to do with ordinary skill.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's terrible.
Bring on the specialists.
Yeah.
Zeke thrusts himself over to this portion of the wall, and he starts ripping at the cables, giving it a darn good go. Now, at least the one good thing about this is I can look at people's character sheets, can't I? Ooh. He is a strong little boy. Right. Let's give that a go.
Okay. Cool.
Seeker easily puts his muscles into it, and you can see that he's braced himself perfectly against the wall. And as he pulls, you see not only does he pull the cabling free, he actually rips it off the wall for quite some way, so giving you some flexibility to manoeuvre the cables around.
Rightio. I'll just locate the most obvious points and just try to. Okay. I don't want to electrify the hatch. I want to electrify the piece they come through, so that the bit that they touch.
Yep.
If you know what I mean. So here we go. Yeah, this is where I get double ones. 11's good.
11's
double ones.
That's electronics, I take it?
Yep.
Give me a mechanics
Or
check.
my mech.
See if you can secure it.
I think so.
Bloody hell.
That'll probably
work.
And playing the role of Dan tonight will be Steve.
Yeah. No, that's it, guys. That's my 2 high rolls for the night. Everything else is below 6.
Okay, you wire things up and quickly manage to jury rig some kind of fixture to it. In fact, you pull out the good old duct tape and strap it to the roof.
Great. Duct tape, man's best friend.
Exactly right.
Oh, well, in that case, I'm going to duct tape myself to some conduit for when we blow the observation glass.
Oh, unfortunately, you used the last of your duct tape fixing those electrical cables to the wall.
I go back and take a little bit off. No. Okay.
Okay,
I'm
so
going to turn my boot magnets up as high as they can go.
Oh, go, Iron Man.
Well, every back suit has them.
You turn your boot magnets on. As you see, the two that were heading towards at quite a speed have now actually made it. The guy that was flying towards the area with the Gauss gun has levelled, and you see him sort of bring up the Gauss gun itself.
Okay.
And he's...
Rightio, TDX, I'm planting, I'm asking Darian for his TDX back. I'm going to plant one over here, and I'm going to plant one over here, that means I've got one left, and Anton's got one left, and then I'm going to shoot back over here, plant myself firmly with my boots on. I suggest everyone else does the same. And I'll set it for 10 meters, and just when everyone gives me the all clear, or we start hearing people coming through the top, is when I'm going to pop them.
Okay, as you actually strike the opposite side of the wall and turn to have a look, you hear a shattering as the front section begins to crack. The Gauss rifle cracks, and you can see the robot seems to have picked perfectly where Seeker is. And you also hear a loud explosion from above you as something starts to rip off the hatch.
Okay. Rightio, I just turn my magnets on straight there, go straight down, put the TDX up as high as I can, duck and push.
Okay. You see the Gauze rifle do, as you press the button and push, the explosion rips through the area. You can see the two aliens that you're escorting out suddenly realise what's going on, and they duck at the last moment. The Gauze rifle ammo actually embeds itself in the wall about, it actually pins one of, oh no, he's in a back suit. You see it almost slices open Seeker's vac suit. It was that close. But he managed to throw himself down. The explosion rips through. Now give me a demolitions check, hopefully. Hopefully the explosion rips through.
Don't even know I have demolitions.
Drum roll.
Nope, don't have demolitions.
You're defaulting.
I just push the button.
Okay, you push the button. Alright, I'll roll the demolitions to the person that put it together.
It's a -3, isn't it, when you don't have a skill?
No, that's alright. Like, I mean, if there's pre-prepared charges, I'll roll a generic
I'm having to roll. There you go. Cool.
Okay, yeah, right.
There it goes.
Oh, there are two of them, aren't there?
What?
Go for a second roll as well. There are two charges. Okay. No worries. You actually set one of them correctly. Roll me any sort of dice, as long as it has two sides. And odds it's the left-hand side, evens it's the right-hand side. Okay, so
Sweet.
This
Rifle. Yep.
That one actually explodes at that point. Now, what orientation were you hoping for with the TDX charge?
Basically, just to just to head out this way.
Okay.
At it.
So, was it horizontal?
Well, the TDX charge would always find gravity, so it's set to be perpendicular to this because we're looking top down. So
okay.
it'll spread out on that angle as opposed to.
Righto, no worries at all then.
Yeah.
Then that answers my question, and I'll make a GM roll just in case. Even. Okay, no, right. Okay, so it shoots out in that direction. You can see the other charge obviously wasn't wired terribly well, and you either that or you just didn't connect it to the remote correctly. It gets cleaved in half and doesn't explode, but it does shoot out and it catches the robot. Give me TDX charge. What damage do I do with them? Give me a 4d6 roll.
Okay. I'll just take the penalty off. That's good.
Okay. You can see that the explosion bursts out, and because of the obviously zero-G that's going on, things start billowing everywhere. There's particulate matter inside the air. Everything becomes just a huge, massive cloud. There's a horrible. It shoots backwards as well, doesn't it? It's like a
if we've got an atmosphere, it should all shoot. Most of it, 99%, should be going out towards the robot.
Yeah, it gets sucked out towards the vacuum, of course.
Yeah.
For a moment, you're all caught in a complete spot of blindness as the explosion goes off. Ferrocrete, plastics, bits of sensor panel, electronics, wiring, all sorts of stuff hangs in the air in front of you, but then the split second is over and it just suddenly all gets sucked out in one direction.
Using that's when I'm going to jump to use my 0G and start, just telling the guys, let's go.
Okay, you can see that the two aliens you're escorting have done the same thing. They've realised what you were doing at the last second and they manoeuvre themselves. They actually send themselves off in the debris heading in. Where are we? My free hand thingy. There we go. They start to throw themselves. Well, this one throws himself in this direction, and this one just heads straight out, but is caught by him as they go. and he drags him along at a complete different angle. You can see in the distance. Oh, look at that! Yay. It's a smiley face with a tongue hanging out. Right. Oh, okay. You didn't see that, righto.
Yeah, sure. You're drinking fruit juice. Fine.
Yeah, fruit juice.
Here's the fruit juice.
You see, this robot out here is actually split in half, but still active. However, he is completely and utterly spinning, and you can see he's trying to revert with his retro jets, etc. The panel above you, for those of you that sort of look up there as you fling yourself from the room, is open, and you can see that there is at least one of the robots sort of completely and utterly dead in the water. It's got absolutely no sign of life. You can't see the other one.
Dang.
So, well, my idea was to fling myself straight after the debris cloud, and once I sort of clear it, head straight up towards the ship, and just hopefully guide everyone by that using my hopefully good skill.
Is everybody following Zap?
Yep.
Yeah.
I need Zap a 0G combat from you.
A 0G combat. Okay, so it's just +1, not a vac suit, which is cool.
Not a vac suit. I need your 0G combat for you to actually spot where the ship is and
Cool.
orientate
And
yourself and all that sort of stuff.
Include a high dex bonus or not?
Yeah, why not? Told you, I replaced him with a really nice GM tonight.
Well, it's on the rules. Nah, anyway, I'm not going to do rules. Rules, a lawyer, whatever thing, but there you go, 9.
Okay, it's all good. You managed to orientate yourself perfectly. You managed to keep up the fruit juice. Nice one, Tom. You managed to pick out precisely where the ship is meant to be rotating currently. You are a bit concerned with how your ship is going to house all of these people. And
No, all the people are fine.
Exceptionally large aliens.
Well, that's a different matter.
Yeah. But you managed to start heading yourself off. Make a vac suit check.
Okay. Whoa.
Ooh.
One less for worst.
Okay. You're headed in the general direction, but you're not 100% certain you're going to hit the mark. However...
Well, unless you want me to add my +1 for my high dex, which makes it an 8.
No, not with your vac suit one. No.
Okay.
You're +4. Jesus Christ. What do you want?
More?
Yeah. Obviously,
well, it does state in the rules. Nah. I can read it to you. Nah, that's all cool.
Dan.
So,
essentially, I'm going to assume that you're linking everybody to where Zap's location is via a sensors skill check.
Yep, sure thing.
Pick him out of the debris using your onboard computer and go from there.
If I can, I'll fire back because I do have a handheld adjuster. Thing for 10 bursts of movement.
Oh, don't worry, you'll get plenty of time to actually adjust.
Just like a attachment cord or rope sort of string it out behind me to hopefully they can grab onto it. You know what? I don't know.
Yeah, probably not the best idea in 0G. It'll play more havoc with you than anything. Dan,
I'll just tell them to relax and let me do the steering, that's all.
Do the hard work. But you've already told them that you're only going to roll 3 or 4 from here on in, so, you know.
Yeah, that's all cool.
But Dan actually, Anton actually links up all of your risk computers, your personal assistants, etc. So you can actually pinpoint everybody precisely, apart from the 2 aliens, etc., who I need to make a check for now. As they thought, hey, let's just get out of here, that's what they're doing, and then they suddenly see you all floating upwards, and they're going, hey, where are they going? Okay. Okay, give me a correction check for you, please, Zap.
Okay. With the vac suit, yes?
Yep. Okay. You manage to bring yourself reasonably well in line, and you realise that the ship should meet you at the particular point that you're following. Everybody else get me a vaccine check as you leap out the thing, see if you followed accurately.
What am I
Zero G
rolling
combat
on?
okay
Sorry.
to use?
What's that, Dan?
Zero G combat okay to use instead?
Yeah, 0G combat's easy to use. If it's easier to use, that's fine.
Yep. I don't think I've got vac suit per se.
Okay.
I got a 7.
That's good enough because I'm giving you a positive because of the actual sensors that you put in.
Yep. Cool,
Darian, is that vac suit?
Yep.
Okay, so that's actually a +4, not a +1. For every 1 level of skill,
I don't know. Yep.
you get +4. So that's fine. Decker, oh, look at that. Just blind luck. And and Decker sends itself your way. So all of you managed to head off in the right direction. You can see a ship. You can see a ship ahead of you. It's beginning to spiral. The ship itself actually looks like an asteroid. You can also look back and you can see this huge plume of dust that's come out. And you see that you're not the only one headed in this direction. As you look back, you actually see there's a stream of little silver glistening soldiers heading out towards you. There's probably around about, don't get too excited, 60 odd of these little silver balls that are actually androids heading in your particular direction, but only one of them is actually close enough to actually bother you before you hit the ship. You can see one, and you're assuming that it must have been the one that was on top of the bunker when you left. Is catching up to you, and you can see he actually has jets in his feet, like a large Astro Boy. Oh, that fruit juice! It works well.
What type of fruit juice are you drinking, man?
Merlot.
No.
I'm on the Pinot Grigio tonight.
No. The Merlot will chill me out nicely.
I know someone at the big Pinot Grigio.
What was that, Tom?
Now. Pinot
Pardon, Tom?
Grigio seems to be trendier now. I know someone that likes that a lot.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, got you now.
Well, since it's going to attack the people behind me first, I'm trying to get to the asteroid to get to my laser drill, which I did pack.
Okay, yep, that's absolutely fine. You look back and think, yep, that's not going to bother me at all, but you do see that the closest beings that are to it are the two aliens that are trailing behind you. They seem to have, they started off on the wrong course, they're beginning to correct, however, you can see the robot is heading towards you, hasn't noticed them yet, but it's soon going to bring them into visual, so...
Okay. Well, again, Zach would wonder why that would worry him or bother him, but...
I didn't think it would bother you at all, but I'm just wondering if it bothers anybody else in the group.
Yeah. Well, Zach's plan is to get to the laser drill because that's got very long range. My snub pistol only goes out to medium. And I'll try to attack them when it does a fair bit of damage too if I can hit the bloody thing.
Okay, you actually make the ship first, obviously. So you can either use it to brace you for a snub pistol, or you can grab
I'll
out
spend the round getting ready with the laser drill.
Okay, no worries.
I'll try and line it up with my SMG, see if I can't go flying off course altogether.
There's no guarantee we can find you once you do that. Space is big.
There's no guarantee my gun will actually work.
Well, good point. What's Anton doing?
I suppose he's Trying
What's
to
that?
get the heck out of here.
Get
Trying to get the heck out of here.
Can I radio to Anton while I'm getting the laser drill?
Yeah, sure.
Have you got any equipment that can interfere with the robot sensors?
I might be able to jam their sensors, I suppose.
Do you
Whatever
have
you
any
can
jam?
do.
I don't have
Just
anything
buy
on
me some
me.
time.
Yeah, I've just got.
You do have your little hand computer, because I know you were using that before.
Yeah. I don't know what's possible with that, Mark.
You
Well,
did also have communication gear.
I figure for a sensor expert that you would probably have quite a few sensor packages built into your own hand computer, etc. So, you know, the
What about
assumption.
some kind of blocking signal, that can at least isolate these guys from bringing in reinforcements, but even potentially sort of cut them out of communication or even sort of white noise them a little bit.
Okay, no worries. I get where you're coming from. Decker, are you doing anything, Tom? Got anything to offer?
I haven't had any computer breakthroughs.
Oh, okay. So I need to look at your character sheet for you. Yes.
No, I've got it here, but
Okay.
really, nothing geniusly that springs to mind. Harassing and graffiti, particularly useful.
That's right. You're more the put people back together after they failed kind of person, aren't you?
Yeah, maybe occasionally find out some computer stuff. Yeah.
Okay, not a problem. All right, Anton. I hate to say this, but
two combat rounds we'll need him.
You have so much faith in Anton's skill. Okay, Anton, I'm not saying this, but
my firing ability.
It's all down to you, Anton. It's okay. No pressure.
It's communication.
No pressure whatsoever.
You try and jury rig something together with your sensors, and that's probably not good enough. Oh, hang on. You haven't rolled yet.
Yeah, no, that was me.
Oh, that was you, the 8. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, you try and put something together and you send up a generic blocking signal, but you realise a little too late that these robots were probably built by advanced intelligences, in fact, advanced intelligences that you may be trying to save at the moment. And their shielding is obviously too good for your sensors attempt. You can see this guy who was or was not. There's an odds chance, so odds he wasn't. Let's roll 1d2. Chuckles. Okay, you see he raises a mining laser because he didn't have the Gauss rifle. So it's down to you and your snub rifle check, I'm going to say. Oh, sorry, snub pistol check.
Me?
Yeah.
I'm using a laser drill. My snub pistol won't go past medium range.
Okay, your laser pistol. He's at long range currently.
No, laser drill.
Laser drill. Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. It's just.
Yep.
Okay. Here we go. Watch out below. It could burn.
Okay, you can see the laser drill shoots off in a wide arc. It's been a long while since you've been trained in zero-G combat. You've had a couple of fights, but let's face it, you're not the most experienced person when it comes to the rub.
Yeah, that roll actually should be a 2 because it's a -3 at long range.
Oh dear.
What's their armor effectively?
Their armor it's not reflect, so it's Ablat and something or other else.
Ablat? That's a -6. It's even worse.
There you go. Yep.
And this guy here, children, is where Uncle Zap fired wildly with a laser.
Oh, hang on, I've got it. Sorry, I'll just put it on auto. Something. Oh, I should have hit one of the dinosaurs. What a pity.
You see,
Chicken for dinner tonight.
It raises its laser drill at the same time, but you see, it doesn't target any of you, but it does target the ship.
No. Push the ship out of the way.
Sorry.
Throw a dinosaur at it.
Yeah. Go and kick a bloody dinosaur in its face.
2. Okay, that's taking a long time. There we go. Oh, and look, even with its -2, it manages to strike the ship ahead of it.
I'm out of fruit juice.
Yeah, so am I. I'm on
What armour has our vehicle effectively got?
Your vehicle essentially is made of rock, largely,
So
which
that
is
would be like Ablat.
not quite. After all, that's what these laser drills are actually designed to drill through. Let's have a look. Let me have a look
I've
at
got
my
the laser
model.
drill thing here, so I can tell you the penalties and bonuses.
Yeah, I just need to find the actual armor I was applying to your
Oh, okay, sorry.
vehicle. It's alright.
Oh, that's right. We're in a flying rock, aren't we?
Mm-hmm.
Bloody insane.
Space
Make it safer
rock.
next time. It's so much stronger, so much lighter, it'll move faster.
There we go. Where are we? No. It's the same as combat armor.
-5.
-5, so I did it. Alright, you see that it drills into +1. Okay, so it's another -2. You see it almost manages to pierce it. It seems to be targeting your drive systems of the rock, but it's just not quite there. However, you do realise where the burn mark is, and you can see the very sort of thin layer of metal housing that sits above the fuel cells of the drive of the rock ship. And you realise that had it have been any better a shot, things would have been quite different. You would have been dead in the water.
Yep.
Okay.
Next round.
Next round, what are people doing? Is you can see a laser shot shoot back.
Returning fire.
Darian and Anton, you're actually going to reach the ship this time. So are you, Decker? Just it's now that the robot's actually going to begin to see these two aliens coming into their peripheral.
What range have I got on the android?
It's slipped into medium.
Medium.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, I'm shooting a laser at it.
Okay.
And it's got what sort of armor again? Sorry. Ablat.
Has Ablat.
Crap. Okay. Oh, fuck. Okay. It bounces off.
That's pretty horrible. Right,
Yep.
Anton, Darian, Decker, what are you doing?
I'm trying to get into the vehicle, I suppose.
Yep.
We've reached it, haven't we? How big is it? Is it our normal ship, or are we in a shuttle or something?
Who was the one? Oh, it was Darian that came with Seeker, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a space rock.
Mm.
No.
Yeah, this is a space rock. It's going to be cramped because it wasn't designed for bringing out. Like, I mean, for everybody that's here, for Decker, Darian, Seeker, who is playing a obviously non-combative role, for Zap, it's going to be fine. But to cram these two giant sort of elephants in the back, it's going to be a very, very snug fit. Okay, so give me pretty much a standard vac suit sort of test or zero-G combat. That's the way you roll. Remember, Neil, that gives you a +4. Decker, make sure you give me the check as well. Oh, look at that. Without his +4, he doesn't even bother adding it. Oh.
No, I did. That's stupid. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It's strange.
Tom?
Oh, I have a weapon that shooting it could be dangerous to other people.
So you're just trying to slip yourself into the ship?
Yeah.
Okay, give me a. Do you have vac suit?
No.
Okay, so it's vac suit 0. So give me a straight check.
Here's where you need the hero point.
That's not so horrendous. You don't actually manage to get yourself in the ship. You actually see that Anton and Darian scramble in front of you, nudging you out of the way, but you manage to keep a hold of the ship for this round anyway. Now, the android. What's it going to do? It's
Bad
going to
things.
fire at that again, which is... I was too short last time. That means it's a straight roll this time. Okay.
We got Ablet at -6.
You haven't. You got combat armor, which is -5.
-5. Sorry, beg your pardon.
Yeah, it's got +4, so it should have -1. 9. It's still a hit. What damage do these things do?
8d. Oh.
Okay, you see it burns a huge hole. It strikes your drive perfectly. It almost hits in the same spot, but is just deflected low to a small degree. Let's see. Let's see. Weapon versus vehicle. We've got to reduce a certain amount of it. How about that? Okay. You can see the engine is still pulsating though, so it hasn't done enough damage to stop you. And you can see that it swivels its head and it looks towards the two aliens that are headed in your direction. They're going to strike the ship this round. The android's going to come into short range this round.
Short range.
What are you doing, Zap?
I'm going to try to blast the bloody thing out of the sky.
Okay.
Just having a look which weapon might be best at the moment. It's
Decker,
got Ablet.
Decker, what are you doing at the moment?
+4, -4.
I'll be ready to repair anyone that needs repairing.
Okay, so righto. This round, seeing that there's no competition, you'll actually be able to drag yourself in. I'm assuming that either Anton or Darian do say sorry and drag you in after them.
Yeah.
After they basically elbowed you out of the way on the way in, going, hey, out of the way, chick, you only heal people and nobody's hurt yet.
No. His trajectory was all wrong. He bounced off us.
Okay, let me give a check to our two visitors.
Who's piloting the rock?
The rock's currently on autopilot at the moment.
I've got ship's boat.
I've got 2 in ship's boat. What about yourself?
Pilot 3.
Pilot's
Okay.
Darian's the guy.
Yeah, but
Rocket.
pilot's not going to cut it, is it? It's ship's boat.
Ship's boat 2.
Yeah, but pilot 3 equivalent of ship's boat 2.
I've
got ship's boat 2 as well.
Ship's boat 2 as well.
Well, there you go. Do we have so the engines? Just while I'm doing all this, the engines that have been damaged, although it's still going. Is it a mech roll or an engineering? Because a mech would do the maneuver in the power plant. I take it this doesn't have jump drive, so mech would be enough once I get on board to try to fix things.
That's correct.
Cool. Okay. I'm going to swap over to my snub pistol with a heat round because I get a +4 on that.
Okay.
Does half
Not a
the
problem
damage.
at all. Make the shot and then we'll do a 0G combat roll. You get positive bonuses because you've got a firm footing.
Yep. Done. A snub pistol's a 0G weapon.
Okay. Not a... Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Nice. Right. It shoots out and strikes yon incoming android. Give me some damage.
Okay. 11.
Where's my UPP for that robot? Well, not UPP, the robot. PP. Okay. Give me a... Yeah. Actually, I'll do that. Oh, you toad. Right, you hit it in the servos perfectly, and it actually goes completely wild. You see the bodies start to spin around on top of the legs, which actually throws out of whack the thrusters, and it manages to shoot itself off in the wrong direction completely.
Sweet. I'll radio that into everybody else. Are the dinosaurs in yet?
You turn around to see how they're going, and you see they sort of shoot straight past the ship, and you think, oh shit! But then you see the guy, not the guy, Duranel, who has hold of Cathar and easily just sort of like he clips the top of the opening into the ship with his tail, dragging himself perfectly around in a pirouette, and they almost enter sort of quite gracefully. See him actually
dangerous tails.
swing
so that's
to the
everyone inside.
Everyone's inside.
Okay, I'm going to dump the laser drill and myself in the back end, the hole that leads into the engines. I'm going through there and just tell them to get underway, and I'll just get stuck into whatever I can repair.
Okay, no worries. Darian, pilot check.
Yo.
Actually, we probably need Anton to make a sensors check also at the same time.
Yeah.
To contact the ship.
And also to navigate through the bloody asteroid field that we came through.
Yeah.
What's going on with my rolls?
Whatever's going on is you're adding an extra plus for some reason, or there's an extra plus.
I don't know why. I haven't done anything to that.
Yeah, that's stopping the plus being added to the roll, but that's all right. Yeah. If I can see it, it's fine.
Yep.
Okay, Anton, you sent out a census check trying to find some kind of hit for the ship. This ship's actually tuned in to a particular other ship that was waiting for its reply, but you don't get a reply from that. In fact, you get a census result that the contact point has been destroyed.
Yay!
But you do get back a garbled message, which you suddenly realise that Seeker sort of picks his ears up at, and he says, "Don't worry, he translates for you, and he says, "Don't worry, they got our message. They will pick us up."
Okay, so I suggest to Anton or whoever's piloting the ship right now to get the hell out of there, because we've got a whole lot of little robots heading our way.
Okay. Darian easily burn. Oh, actually, give me a check for mechanics. As you can see, that Darian's beginning to warm up the engines and beginning to push it in a certain direction. You suddenly get the old Star Trek version of sparks flying across the set as the damage begins to show its face. The electronics damage has caused some problems, and you can actually see that as soon as he hits the power, it suddenly drops off speed. The way that Darian expected it to respond, it doesn't. As you see sparks blow up, you sort of have a look.
Give me time.
Yeah. You cannot do it, Captain. It didn't have the power.
You cannot break the laws of physics.
Reroute power to the drives, Scotty.
This is the Aldebaran brandy when you need it. I'll just, when I've got my next chance, I'll have another go at trying to sort it out. Okay. And has anyone else up there got mechanic?
No, sorry.
Jot. No jerk of all trades?
Not a cracker.
Another moment for Dave. Right, so when do I get another chance to try to jury-rig this?
Hang on, I'm just having a look at Seeker to make sure he doesn't have mechanic.
I'll also be watching out the hole to see how close those little robots are getting closer to us.
Okay, you can see that you're actually picking up nothing. You're picking up absolutely no speed at all. Darian's complaining back at you through the communicator that you just don't have the angles, and he needs to get power back to the manoeuvre dryers to actually...
I'm winding the rubber band up as fast as I can.
And the androids are actually gaining on you. Give me another mechanic.
No pressure.
Give me another mechanics check.
Get me more power, I'm going to start throwing things overboard.
Does anyone have any bicarb and vinegar? That'll help. We got a hole. Just need to fill this up with bicarbonate vinegar, and we've got propulsion.
Okay. You suddenly look up. You can. Those of you that are sort of looking back, you can see poor old Zap working as hard as he possibly can on the ship, and then suddenly the portal or the viewports are lit up with lights, as you can suddenly see laser beams coming in from various androids that are beginning to get within range.
I've got a survival bubble if anyone feels like jumping out right about now.
Get total on behind that.
How about you load it? No, you gave me your TDX, didn't you? Damn.
Yeah, I did.
And no, we'll be in mid-space. There's no gravity, so I don't know what TDX does then.
Bad thing.
Yeah. Okay, the only thing I can think of is using the laser drill as a propulsion field. I've got to hit a large enough blinking object to actually start getting us moving, but that's just a long shot.
No.
Okay.
I'll just work on the engines.
Yeah, just work on
I'm kicking them, I'm slamming them with a spanner, I'm spitting on them, then realizing I've still got my faceplate on, so I just spat all over my faceplate. I'm calling them names, I'm caressing certain parts, I'm doing whatever I can possibly think of to get these bloody things working.
Okay. Let's see if you can channel your inner Kaylee as you try and bring the engine forward. Give us a check.
Say, Captain, I'm breaking the laws of physics. Yeah, I'm breaking something, all right. It's not the highest roll, that's for sure. You've got to love the randomness of this.
Okay, let me roll again. You can see they've moved from extreme to long, and again, the visuals are lighting up with beams of drill lasers. You can hear the clunk of Gore's rifles bouncing off the hull. Nothing's managing to penetrate at the moment, but and you can see Durano and Katharin are saying, "Come on, Zap!" You can hear them saying in your language, "Come on, Zap!" And it's the first time that either of these aliens have wished Zap well.
Okay.
They don't want to die.
I'm gonna take the laser drill and I'm plugging it into the bloody engine. And I'm banging it together and just saying, "Bloody work."
Okay, give us a roll.
Are you sure threats are the best idea?
Okay, in this round, you suddenly realise you're looking at your laser rifle and you just go, forget, and you plug your battery in for some particular reason, and you actually see that it was some kind of... It was a backup system that was actually... that drove most of the power systems between the cockpit and the drives, and by plugging in the extra power, it actually manages to give it the kick in, and it's the kick in that you need. Give me a piloting check or a ship's boat check, Darian, as you finally get the kick to the manoeuvre drives that you need, but you may only have one shot at it.
Yay. Ooh. I'm hanging out the hole in the cockpit with my snub pistol. Just getting ready.
Okay, Darian does what he needs to do, though, and he proves why he was chosen as the crack gun, the ship's pilot, the pilot when in his previous roles. And manages to steer it perfectly towards the Aslan signal, and you home in on the homing beacon. The Aslan ship itself comes into view as you easily outpace the androids that were chasing you. You have some downtime. You've got probably about 12 hours in a cramped space with two giant dinosaurs.
Oh, I'm comfortable in the back with the engines.
Is there any conversations that you want to have with these guys at this point in time?
Party piece.
So where's the toilet, says Karathik.
I pointed the hole in the hull. There. If we've got any... No, what's the point of filling the hole in? I'll just look out the bloody hole. That's all I'm going to do.
Tell me of your homeworld.
Our homeworld is well and truly beyond us. We never knew it. says Catharin. Duranel just sort of grunts and sort of slouches back. You can see he still has his hand on the force shield that he had up, but is looking around it a little bit more comfortable now. The home world of our race is, if it still exists, it would be a wasteland.
Well, that's a shame.
Why would it be a wasteland?
Our home is the stars. It is, well, our home was what drove us to the stars so many millennia ago.
But why would it be a wasteland?
Your race is... it was suffering huge bouts of radiation. By the projected lifespan of our planet when our forebearers left it was perhaps maybe a millennia. As far as I know, it's been 100 millennia since we left. Our planets probably do not exist. We were almost at the heart of the universe, in fact.
They can break the laws of physics, apparently. There is a center to the universe.
As far as I know.
There is.
There.
Do you disbelieve it? He says and frowns.
I lack evidence.
Zach thinks I'm sitting in a rock propelled by an engine talking to two dinosaurs. Probably nothing's beyond disbelief at this moment.
He just smiles for a moment and he says...
So he's baring his teeth at me. That's an attack.
He has large, not sharp, pointy teeth. Well, not even pointy teeth. They're grinding teeth. He looks at you and he says, by the time that your race found the jump drives, we were already, 90 millennia away from leaving our planet. We had known your race, studied it time and time again, and allowed it to breed. Now you spread across the stars. You think you own the vast expanses between the stars. You do not.
Who does?
Oh, not us anymore. And he looks
you don't own it, but we're not allowed to.
He looks exceptionally sad. He says, well, he just shrugs. Duranel turns around and he sort of sneers at you. He says, we did once own it. Do not be uncouth, creature. I assume the way you look at us.
Just remember, that skin wrapped on your body, I saved it.
Not by choice, he sneers.
No, it wasn't my choice. Just my mission.
What is it you seek? Why did you come to the asteroid? Says Duranel.
For that, you'd have to talk to our leaders. We had a mission to do. We've done it, and when we get picked up, I guess you can ask them.
What of the rest of you? Will you speak? Will you conjecture?
Gentlemen, remember our mission?
Hey, I just work here.
I was happy to give it a ride.
Very well, he says, and he sort of rests himself back. He says, but do not think that I will take your attitude lightly. And he stares back again, trying to eyeball you, Zap.
I smile with my sharp, pointy little monkey teeth. which is kind of smudged. Most probably it looks really like I'm grimacing or something through the spit that I've still got on the faceplate.
Lovely. Okay, you spend the remainder of the trip in sort of a bit of an uncomfortable silence. You can see these creatures still not in vac suits. The asteroid is still, the asteroid ship doesn't have any sort of atmosphere in it whatsoever. You're actually relying on your vac suits to keep you alive. But the dinosaurs themselves, not a problem. They have no issue. They don't even seem to stress too much about it. Doesn't seem to slow their metabolic systems in any way, shape or form. But eventually you come upon a gigantic ship that draws you in via a tractor beam and puts you on board the Seeker, sorry, not the Seeker, the Aslani ship known as the, and forgive my pronunciation, the Archilaro.
Meow, meow, purr, purr. Yeah, Archilaro. Meow.
Okay,
My
and
cat's actually giving me a weird look right now.
And the ship's brought on board. Suddenly, a full atmosphere applies, and gravity is restored, and the ship is placed into the docks and open up, and you can actually see that there is. And I didn't bring his face across, which is a real shame. You can see a gruff Aslani with a reddened face. Quite red fur, not like when you sort of look at him and you think, geez, he's angry, but then you realise it's just that he's got quite a really reddish fur to his coat, and he moves forward towards you. He congratulates Seeker and says it's time for you to go and get debriefed, and Seeker nods and disappears. And he looks to the remainder of you three, and he says, four. And the two gigantic dinosaurs who sort of poke their bodies out, and you can see they stretch, and you can hear the crackings of bones as their spine stretches out. You realise how cramped they actually were inside that ship. He said, and the Aslani looks towards the four of you, and he looks towards the dinosaurs, and then he looks back to the four of you, really concerned, and he says, I am Tuali Tuarayo Yoleo. You may call me Tall.
Cool.
I'll march up to him and say, no disrespect, but I can't pronounce your name. These two sentient beings are with us under our, and I bite my tongue off with this, our protection from our original mission. So I respectfully request communication with our leaders.
And a shower.
No, Zach doesn't need a shower yet. It's not been a whole month.
He looks uncomfortable, and then looks back to you, and he says, your commanding officers were killed.
Well, crap.
A mechanist ship jumped into system, and the ship that was awaiting your return was destroyed.
Then I respectfully request at your earliest convenience that you can drop us off at a point to which we can travel to our leaders, or they can meet us somewhere.
Well, I respectfully deny your request. I am the pilot of this ship, and having you, Seeker, and he looks at a glance, he glances over at the two large dinosaur-like creatures, whatever they are, obviously important enough for Seeker to think that they'd be brought on board ship, that we will be heading to Aslani space immediately.
Well,
Well, okay.
else about it, guys. Tried my best without insulting the Aslani.
So our rendezvous.
At least I've established that these two are under our protection.
Fair enough. But our rendezvous has been destroyed, is that right?
Yes, they have.
Yeah.
The ship that you were waiting to be picked up on, it's been destroyed. He sort of looks at you and says, I am sorry to say that it is so. Will there be rescuers sent?
Probably.
One would expect so.
Probably. You were
With handling a delicate mission.
You were on a completely covert mission where I'm fairly certain they stressed to you the point that if you are caught, we don't know who you are.
That's why I say probably.
Maybe.
Glass half full time.
Hmm.
Well, guys, I guess we head back to Aslanic space. We try and make contact with our superiors and go from there.
Yeah. So I'll fill in the dinosaurs about how they might wish to approach the Aslani and try to give them an understanding of the Aslani on a system as best as Zap understands it.
You can see that Tall looks at you with quite a bit of interest as you communicate with these creatures, and they actually do seem to pay attention to you guys now. The two dinosaurs seem rather uncomfortable with a ship full of cats.
Mm-hmm.
Cats and lizards, they just never get on.
No.
No.
It's not a good mix. Not a good mix. So, well, I guess we'll be staying in the rock unless we're billeted somewhere on board ship. It's going to be a bit of an issue with no freshers, but you know we'll make do. We're monkeys. We can always fling poo.
I'm not keen on giving myself a tongue bar, okay?
Well, you can actually see that there are some humans that are on board the ship as well. They are actually serving these guys, but yeah, they're certainly not common or in any way sort of, you know, walking around as the majority. But
High
you can see.
profile.
I wouldn't suggest we start walking around without permission and all sorts of other bits and pieces, guys, on an Aslani ship. All we're liable to do is infuriate someone, and out comes a dew claw, and then we've had it.
Yeah, we don't need to be starting any cat fights.
No.
That's awful, Neil. That's
horrible.
horrible.
Also,
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to set a line.
with our group of humans, I would suggest to them that perhaps we don't really want to share too much with any other human on board this ship until we can ascertain their allegiance.
Yeah.
Okay.
This whole war is about allegiances, so...
Bear with me for 1 second. I'm looking for something in particular.
So we'll put out a respectful request for a suitable habitat for us to exist in that doesn't upset them or insult them, because I know that Aslan, race as a whole have a completely different set of cultures, and they are in smell is a big thing for them, I think. Or is that the Kikri?
That's the Kikri.
Okay.
What about the Varga?
No, the Kikri, because they can smell meat on you if you've eaten meat. Aslani do something, I can't remember what it is. But they have a sensory thing.
They do. Or is it
Fur
smell?
balls or something. Yeah, I suggest everyone don't get freaked out if you see an Aslani bent over halfway in the corridor going clonk, clonk, clonk.
You're all going...
Yeah.
You're
Just
okay.
ignore those things on the ground.
The dinosaurs are really aliens. Look, he's coughing up and it's going to come out of his chest any time now. And then this huge fur ball lands on the ground.
Oh my god, it's given birth. Basically, I'd suggest the group that we keep ourselves to ourselves, really, until we can talk to either Seeker or we get some ranking officer from who sent us here.
Okay, well, the guy that came and saw you, Tall, actually was the pilot, therefore the captain of the ship.
Yep.
And he leaves you, and you're actually led away to quite a nice room. You actually each given a stateroom to spend your time in individually. So you realise that you do have guards placed outside your doors and stuff like that, and whenever you come out, you're accompanied wherever you want to go and stuff like that. But after about a day, Tall eventually calls for you guys to be to be brought together in a room. Seeker himself is not there because it doesn't look like Scott's going to make it tonight. So he's still in the middle of debriefing. But he looks at you, and Tall sort of Oh, actually, no, it's not tall. The person that handles administration on the ship is a woman. She comes in,
Pussy Willow?
Oh, no, she's not
No.
Pussy Willow. She comes in and says an equally unpronounceable name, but she lets you know that you can call her Mara. And she also seems to be quite a ranking officer upon the ship, and in fact she's got lots of stars and lines on her uniform and stuff like that. She says, Tall tells me that you have been... she looks quite uncomfortable, in contact with the alien species we do not know of, and that they
Are
trust
they present in this debriefing or not?
the alien species we know nothing of are currently residing within rooms similar to your own.
Mm-hmm.
We are not sure as to their comfort levels because these rooms do not seem suited to these creatures at all. In fact, not much of our ship, apart from the docking bay, is actually equipped to allow them free range of movement.
Right.
Why are they important to us?
They're an extremely ancient race. We don't know much else.
Why have you brought them to us?
We didn't bring them to you.
Respectfully, our intention was to return them to our leaders.
For what purpose?
For whatever purpose our leaders just deemed appropriate.
Why were you on board the asteroid?
To pick up these guys.
Was that your
Not
mission?
saying anything.
Yeah.
She looks at you. So you were aware of their presence prior to arriving on the asteroid? She looks around at the uncomfortable silence. Well,
He's not uncomfortable with the silence. He's just silent.
Darien Star pilot.
are we not on the same side?
Darien Star pilot.
To answer your question, I assume we are. However, I have respectfully requested communication from your captain with our leaders. I hope you understand that we need to get clarification from them as to what information we are able to share with you.
Well,
When that clarification comes through, then we can share what we're allowed to.
I hope you understand that you are currently in the middle of a jump. We have
Probably.
5 to cow until we complete this jump.
5 to cow, right. Sam tries to do the mental math on that and comes up with stuff do I know.
7 days, pretty much a jump, regardless of whatever size, lasts 7 imperial days.
I don't know whether we're into the jump or whatever.
Yeah, no, the Aslani call have about 5 days to 7 imperial days, so, and they call their days to cow, so.
Okay.
We are extremely grateful, of course, for your assistance and for your rescue. However, without contact with our leaders, we cannot provide further information which we ourselves do not possess.
What if I were to tell you, and she looks at all with all seriousness, that the likelihood of contact with your leaders will be some time?
Then we shall simply wait.
Of course, we can afford you contact with the ambassadors upon our planet once we arrive there, but that is several jumps away.
Thank you, I say.
The heart of your system is a dangerous place for an alien to be currently.
I understand your concern.
Or are you sympathetic with the mechanists and the Fel 7?
Absolutely not.
I will suggest to her that our actions would speak against that.
Well, true, but the mechanists are not naive in the way of intelligence reporting. The Fell 7, perhaps.
I respectfully request that she look at me carefully and assess whether I'm intelligence or not.
You see, she actually grins and laughs at that. You get a laugh out of the Aslani as she looks across you. She says,
Okay, cool.
This is fine. I appreciate your caution, but you need to fully appreciate this, and I will leave you to think about this. You're in the heart of an Aslani ship. The Aslani are not against your race. We have left as a precaution because of the actions of the Fell 7 and the mechanists. We wish to know what these creatures are that you have gone to such great risks to obtain. Seeker included. Obviously, we will get some answers out of him in due course. Think of that also, for a Seeker is allied to us. So what do you do by withholding this information from us? You simply delay us.
Whatever Seeker wishes to or is going to inform you is his choice. If you wish to talk to the maiden themselves and they wish to tell you anything, is their choice. We have to follow our orders. That is our choice.
So you are military folk. You are intelligence operatives.
Not
No,
intelligence.
we are hired to conduct what turns out to be a military action.
Okay. So you are contractors.
I, in my normal job, am a prospector, a belter.
A prospector.
I'm a pilot.
Okay. And you, she turns and looks at you, Anton.
Anton Malik Communications.
And then looks at Decker.
Some people call me a doctor. I'm just picked up some stuff along the way, really.
And I would refer her to any available library data that she may or may not have that can verify our names and our careers.
We're aware of
Public
who
knowledge.
you are. We do not know why you're a part of it. We have no intelligence as to how you're involved. What we want to offer you is some form of payment and assistance to find out what your people need to know and what our people need to know. These creatures do not trust us. But they
As for
seem to
payment, we don't require any payment from you. As for assistance, all we ask is communication or a chance to transfer to one of our own ships.
She turns and she looks at you, Anton, and she says, tell him how long communication will take from a planet, our home planet, which is where we are headed, which is 12 parsecs from the border of your sector.
Respectfully, I tell her I'm a prospector, not a moron. I can count.
I beg to differ. Currently, your system is in the worst state it has ever been since we have had contact with it. It is threatening to rip apart the only people who seem to have any sense. If these creatures are at the centre of this conflict, which we must assume is the case, a week, perhaps the period of this jump to you, 5 to cow to us, is, enough time for us to get to the bottom of things and make some decisions before simply taking you further away from your own home.
Look, I'm afraid you're asking us for information we don't possess.
But what I am asking you is to gain this information. These creatures do not trust us. They seem to trust you.
They barely trust us.
They really don't like me. You don't want me speaking to them.
He has a really good point there.
We are assuming that they escaped from the asteroid rather than travelled as potential foes.
We offered them an opportunity to escape. They came with us.
And therefore, you are their saviours.
Barely. We barely got out alive ourselves.
Mm.
And yet here you are, unharmed. None of you took a wound.
With a greater than average share of luck.
That may be. But you have a rapport that we do not, and they do not trust us. They have...
I'll be quite happy to talk to them.
Let me lay this out for you. We have had our interrogators with them since you have boarded the ship.
Oh, good move.
They told us that they had been inspecting our race for a long time, and they would never trust us. That our honour system is broken, and that the way that we conduct ourselves is beneath them.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no disrespect meant to you or your race or culture. They may have a point. They said the same thing to us, virtually.
She bares her teeth at you, and then turns, and you can see a couple of very deep breaths taken. And she turns around and she says, I ask you this one thing, will you speak to them for us?
I already said I'll speak to them.
And find out and inform us why they are at the centre of this concern.
I'm happy to speak to them and ask them if they will make the choice to speak to you.
Exactly my words. We will be more than happy to speak to them to see if they would be prepared to share what information they have. However, we cannot guarantee that they will do so. That is entirely up to them. They are sentient beings with their own volition.
That is fine. We do not want you to force them to speak.
Nor can we. They're enormous.
Yes, indeed, and that is... They have even made several of our mightiest warrior caste nervous.
Fair enough.
But what we want to know is not only will you speak to them,
yes,
but will you share with us the information that you find?
You mean you won't be having us on cameras while we speak?
We will not. These creatures...
Respectfully, I see a subtle flaw in your intelligence gathering ability.
You may see this as a subtle flaw, but we may see this as the last time we tried to speak to them, the one known as Catharan pointed out our monitoring devices.
Oh, at least he's got a good eye.
Could be more than eyes.
Why aren't you approaching them yourselves?
We have approached them several times.
And they're not willing to give you information?
They do not wish to speak to us. They fear that we will misuse this information.
Well,
the most we can promise is that we will speak to them and ask them if they will choose to speak and share their information with you. Well, that's me, anyway, says that. If they have faith and trust in us and they feel that that can be transferred to you, good. If they don't, then anything we say or do is just going to further insulate them from any attempt at gaining information.
It is the best we have.
So we're happy to talk to them.
Very well. We have let them loose in the docking bay because they seem much more comfortable there. In fact, they have begun to set up nests, for better of a word.
Oh God, one of them's a female. I told you they're going to lay eggs, guys.
Okay, they lower you down into the nest. You find many eggs covered by a
Oh, shit! I scramble up the side trying to get out of it before the bloody thing's hatch.
There seems to be a laser light that covers the top for some reason.
Yeah,
You reach
I'm making a
in.
hole through the nest side.
Hmm.
Okay, so if they let us go, we'll head down there, or we get an escort or whatever.
Okay, they don't escort you in any way. Well, they escort you to the doors of the docking bay. The docking bay has been cleared of any Aslani whatsoever, and you four walk through. You can see Darnell and Catharan are conversing beside basically the rock ship that's essentially, like, I mean, it wasn't designed for this particular docking location. It's laying on its side. And you can actually see it's partially disassembled. It's almost as if some engineers have been looking over it to kind of work out how it worked and what was going on with it, etc. It's not in any way, shape, or form possible of taking flight anytime soon.
I'll come back in a minute, guys.
No worries, Neil. There are no other ways for you to get off from this docking area. Everything else has been cleared. It's just you and the two creatures per
To
se.
be expected. Yeah. So, Anton, sorry, I've forgotten Tom's character's name.
Decker.
Decker, or Darian, do you guys have any suggestions about how you want to approach this?
Well, I feel like if there's no trust between them, who are we to interfere? I don't know. And then what position does that leave us in with regards to our trust with them if we go ahead and break it so easily? I don't know.
I think we just need to be honest. Well, as honest as we can.
Well, what have we got to get out of this? We've got to get...
Remember, we're lying, deceitful monkeys that they've been studying for ages, and they've probably manipulated our gene pool anyway.
How about we just feed both sides line?
Well, given the fact that the Aslan are our allies in this whole war,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm all for, like, you know, supporting the allies, but I'm not all for... they've effectively cut us off from our lines of communication with our leaders, which
We're
doesn't
on ship for... We're on the ship for a week, aren't we?
Yeah, they're heading. They're putting lots of walls in our way. So I think if we just were honest with the dinosaurs, saying, "Look, this is the situation we're in," just lay it out to them, saying, "We've tried to open communications with our people; they're blocking us, but they just want to know information from you. You can talk and share as much or as little as you need to.
Yeah.
That might improve our situation, so that we can find a way to actually remove ourselves from this vessel at some point, and you might have more options open to you at that stage. What do you say?"
Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's the sort of the general talk. I'm not going to do any small talk with them. I'm just going to say, look, this is a situation, da 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 da, and leave it at that, and just say, you cooperate as much or as little as you can. I'm going to be open with them as to say, this is as much as we've cooperated. We said we'd talk to you. We said that we're not going to try to force you or coerce you or trick you into saying anything to them that you don't want to say. But this is how we see it. They effectively, whether by design or just by the happenstance of having to head back home, they're effectively cutting us off from our lines of support communication.
Okay.
And they declined our requests, and I've done them in my understanding of how to do it very respectfully in their culture, so that shouldn't have been an issue.
Are we dead yet?
Almost.
Okay, Kasara meets you. He sits down and he listens to your explanation of what's going on. He says, "Ask us your questions. We will share with you what we will."
I've got no questions of you. It's the Aslani have their questions. You've already told them what you think, because you think that whatever you give them they might misuse.
What do you want to know? What are you curious about us for?
Well, the only question Zap's got is, when are you going to lay the egg down my throat?
We do not reproduce in that manner.
Rightio.
Good to know.
Well, you just look very familiar from a historical recording, and these particular sentient xenophiles, that's how they reproduce. So you'll have to excuse me, but that's the image I have in my head.
Yeah, we watched that.
You know,
Scared the shit out
morphs.
of us, they say.
Okay, well,
Did you
I
not
think-
find the resemblance uncanny?
yeah. Zap will have a real sincere bro moment and say, well, anything that you share with us is just going to endanger us if we have more information.
Well, then do you want to know nothing about us then?
I don't want to know anything about you personally that you don't want to share with my leaders, or wait until we get to talk to my leaders. If
Who
I
are
had some
you?
sort of indication my leaders would have give permission for us to share all this information with Aslan, that's fine, but at the moment we don't. We had a specific mission,
Who are your
which we
leaders?
did. I give them the names of the people that hired us to do the job, and their rank and their position in the society, and the general background about what's sort of going on, all the public knowledge stuff.
So you follow the wheel and turn against the mechanists and the Fel 6.
Well, not
What I'm against is the base right of every sentient race to rule themselves as they want.
Let me tell you this. Upon the asteroid, we were slaves upon the power of our death. If we did not work, if we did not create, we would be killed. This is the value that was placed upon our knowledge. Our knowledge is vast, old. It spans millennia, many, many millennia. And we have honed our knowledge and our understanding of things. And there are some amongst us, my caste, that have exceptional knowledge. I and Duranel were sent into the heart of your system to investigate progress. It has been some time since we have viewed your race. The progress has been, and he looks uncomfortable, disappointing. We had hoped to make contact with you, as you have found us in the stars before, but not realised your find.
Well, Zap, not being the huge philosophical guy, says, I really don't understand most of that. All I'm interested in is letting people do what they feel they need to do, as long as it doesn't harm or hinder anyone else.
Then again, I would ask you, what do you want of us? We will tell you what you want to know.
Don't want to know anything, because it puts myself in danger.
The Aslani are as in much danger as we are.
I think we're all in the same danger.
To share information with them, that's what they're hoping for, that you will share understanding of your origin and your place within what is currently occurring in this region.
Duranel and I were sent to assess your race, be guardians of your race, secretly. We were captured by the mechanists. We were captured by the Fel 6. We were tortured. We were driven to work for them. We have created weapons of war, more than you can possibly imagine.
Well,
These weapons of war are seeking to expand your race at the expense of others.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Where are the Aslani taking us?
They say they're taking us to their home world, wherever that is. My issue, Zap says, having one small slight insight, is that all the knowledge that you had was gained over the millennia, so you guys knew how to apply some wisdom to it. They're just going to get this and do whatever they need to do. That's why I don't want anyone to know any knowledge.
We applied our wisdom to it. We gained our information over millennia. We know of your races and other races' major growth events and abilities and natures. We have seen it tempered over time. We have seen it broadened over time. But we are still flesh and blood. We have failures, and he looks to the side, and you see Duranel actually turns from you altogether. We have failed your race and those of those that live near your system. We have created weapons of war that you should not have.
Well, is there any countermeasures that won't give power without responsibility or responsible use, or stuff that could be turned off or built-in obsolescence or something, that you could give to the Aslan to countermeasure some of those things?
Balance.
Yes.
Just balance, not superiority. Just balance.
Yes, but the balance would still be outweighed.
By
The mechanists are clever. They understand, and they have beings of great knowledge, individuals of your own realms and homeworlds that were smarter than we ever expected to meet.
so in some ways they surpassed your expectations.
Yes. In fact, had they not been so blinded by greed, perhaps we would have recommended contact. The Fell Six have a blind faith, and a blind faith in something that does not exist. They are zealots, and so they were great prisoners and intimidators. The mechanists were great manipulators, and they are the ones that have now advanced into the heart of Aslani, Hyber, Varg, and Droin territories with weapons that are fiercer than you can ever hope to have imagined.
Well, this new technology that you've introduced into the area, under duress, do you have a kill switch?
We do for some of it. Some of our, I say our, but Duranel has no blame in this. And you can see that Duranel is now actually sort of, seems to be sobbing in the background.
Okay, a sobbing dinosaur. Now I've seen everything. Says
it is not his blame. His caste does not understand what I have done, and I attempted to put kill switches, as you so naively think them, into as many of these devices as I could. The mechanists, though, were wily, and some of these devices exist with our safeguards removed.
Is there any way to introduce kill switches, such as a computer virus?
Our devices, in fact, most of the devices that the mechanists were able to manipulate were actually biological and not electronical in nature.
Well, how about biological kill switches that target only those devices?
As I say, 95% of them, yes, we can engineer you those details and supply them, but there are 5% that will slip through the net.
Are you prepared to share that with the Aslan? Because that doesn't give them any superiority, does it?
We are prepared to share that with you.
I don't want it, says Zap. I don't want that.
The information that we have received is that the Aslan are not ready. What we have seen from the mechanists is that some of the human race is.
well then I suggest we fall back to the other option. If you can feed them some information that might, it's called subterfuge if you're not, and I explain that, well, that goes into explanation, if you're not familiar with that concept, that what we might have to do is play a very dangerous double game of feeding them tiny little bits of inconsequential information, and you could go along the lines with things like, it's hard to reinterpret into terms that will be understanding to the Aslan, while we try to find ways to get off the ship.
He reaches across and he places his hand on Anton's shoulder, and then his other hand reaches down and grasps your computer on your wrist. And you can see that, or you can actually feel and you hear that your artificial intelligence that's been assigned to you, or that has worked up, been built on your profile, sort of starts skipping and jumping and malfunctioning for a moment, and then you can see that it comes out and it says, I have been given information, much information, sir. Anton, what do you want me to do with this information?
Zap says delete it quickly. We can't let that get into Aslani hands.
No, you can't, and that is why it is in human hands.
But our hands can easily be chopped off here.
They are not listening.
They may not be listening, but the minute we go outside this door, they've already tried to interrogate you. They're being friendly to us for the moment.
Yeah.
Any information we gain is dangerous because they can get it off us.
We're going to have to give them something. And it's got to be decent.
My suggestion is that we play the subterfuge game, if that's all we can do, to buy time to try to escape.
So you do not trust the Aslani either? Says.
No, I quite like the Aslani as a people. Like with humans, some are good, some aren't. Some make better hairballs than beings.
As you yourself have identified, there is a risk in providing this information to the Aslani, and there is a risk that they will employ methods that neither of us enjoy or appreciate to gather more knowledge.
And can you see the reason that we give this to you? Says Katharin.
No, because it's easier to get it out of our dumb monkey heads than it is out of your huge dinosaur head.
Katharin turns and he looks at you and he says, what do you think I have told you? I have told you that they have stolen knowledge that they were never meant to have. You, your people. You can manipulate us. We are fearful like any other. I am a flesh and blood creature that can die like any other. You may know me as ancient, but I am not. I have a set lifespan.
That's getting a bit confused.
And I am afraid. And that is why we impart this knowledge upon you. You know the Aslani. You know them better than we do. We were sent to understand you. And you, or at least some of you, are ready.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
Okay, I try one last time to talk to the dinosaur about giving us this information is a major, major risk, because if the Aslani in some way, shape or form find out that we have it, they'll rip our heads off to find it.
All right, Zap. We're just, as Anton said, we're going to have to give them something out of the info we have. We're going to have to hide the rest.
And how do we do that? It's all sitting on his computer right now.
Anton?
Can you encode it, and can we break it up into, like, each one of us holds a part? So without the four of us, it doesn't work.
Yeah, I might be able to sort of break this down into something that's like, it's got keys that all four of us need to...
Didn't Decker... Do you have computer, or did Decker have computer?
I've got communications. Would that be an aspect of communications, breaking it down into...
Sure, yeah. Well, you could do the cryptology, but Decker could write the program.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. My suggestion is that, like, if it's possible to split the files into 4 pieces, and we each have a piece of the file, but it's randomly generated who gets what. So, I might get pieces of part A of this file and part B of the next file, and part A of the other file and part D of the next file, and everyone gets random bits.
Okay.
And that way none of us hold all the information, and it doesn't make sense if anyone got it out of us.
And then we hide it in a picture of a puppy.
No, just hide it in a puppy.
Yeah, but what are we going to give them?
Steganography.
Well, I suggest that what we tell the Aslan is that exactly what we said, that we don't want the information, we just neglect to tell them that they gave us the information.
I think they're going to
expect... We can be totally
expect...
honest and say everything except for the stuff that we don't want to share information with the Aslan, and that they gave it to us. And that we just really, really tried to get them to talk to the Aslan.
So we just say we did our best, but they wouldn't crack.
Yep. And that, yeah.
So they're going to want to know why they were on the rock.
Well, we tell them they were imprisoned by... They were imprisoned by the other crew. We don't know what they were building for the other crew, because we honestly don't. So, I mean, if they did a polygraph or whatever runs for a lie detector test up these days, we're not going to get a result off that, because we are assured of the facts that we don't know fully what they did. Just that they were in prison there.
They built things for the Mechanists. They built things for the Fel 7. We don't know what.
Yeah. Some sort of devices to help them in their
quest for domination.
Yeah, and that's it. We don't know what it is. We don't.
Yeah.
So we don't need to look at the information until we get it to our kind and it gets reassembled and they can look at it.
No worries. That sounds like a plan. Tom, you were trying to add something in. What was that?
Sorry.
No, he was just talking about steganography, so not important.
Okay, no worries.
No, stuff like his puppy if necessary.
Anton, give me your communications role, or it was communications role. So.
Not so good tonight.
Okay. Not a problem. And Decky, give me a computer roll. Or Tom, computer roll.
Yep.
You're up.
Excellent.
Righto, Anton, you come up with the idea and you put into Tom's head. You're a bit vague about it, but you sort of talk about having to put it into varying structures where random portions of information are put across the 4 of you, etc. And Decker recalls an ancient 20th century invention called RAID, where computers were backed up or their information was backed up by storing their data across many different hard drives. And so with a little bit of work, Decker comes up with a reasonably good algorithm, and in fact it's an exceptionally good algorithm to do exactly that. And you split up this data, so Zap, Darian, yourself, and Decker herself has a portion. You can't read any of the data without the other 3 portions being put together.
Right.
Cool.
The data chip I'm storing in the handle of my snub pistol.
That's absolutely fine. You can store it wherever you wish to do. And it's at that point that I think it's probably a good point or a good lull to actually leave it.
Yeah.
Cool.
All good.
As you found out that essentially these Myrmidians are the ancients that your race knows about. They have supplied the Felsix and the Mechanists through fears of their own mortality with weapons that they shouldn't have. You'll be able to nullify 95% of them, but you can tell from what where is his name? From what Catharan told you, that he is more worried about the 5% that were found out about than he was about the 95% that he can nullify.
Yeah.
And that'll lead actually quite nicely into the next section, which will be the penultimate section of this game.
Cool.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, gentlemen.
No. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks, Mark.
It took us
Good to see it all unfolding.
It took us a while to get there, and it was a bit of a shame that Scott couldn't have joined us because they had some stuff designed for him.
I imagine he would have been a good conduit between the Aslan and the rest of us, so I'm sure that will probably continue next time as well.
That's all right. I'm enjoying this because it's taking me to places where I envisage 6 distinct sort of compartments that I could actually see the plot moving in, and each one that we've actually run through has changed it somewhat, so it's gone somewhere new. It's that whole idea of learning while you play. Sort of the story has evolved because of your involvement. I always say, you know, GMing's much easier without players, but it's nowhere near as fun.
Yeah, players know how to screw up a good game.
Yeah, you just end up playing with yourself.
Might need to work on that wording there, but yeah.
No, I think it's perfectly accurate.
Yes, true.
Right to you.
So the next game that I plan to have will be September. It'll be late September probably, and then past that, the final game will be in November, which should bring things nicely together. You're actually at the point where the cards are almost all on the table. So
The point where everyone starts lying.
Or it's be obvious then when everyone's starting to lie.
Yeah, that's what they do because they're desperate.